Welcome to Home's Room. Just like homeroom, we start off our day getting together with our homies, swapping stories, even a little kiss and tell action. This
For the 100th time
contains language not suitable for younger listeners, topics about sex and mental health. Discretion is advised. Our views are our own. Let class begin.
For the 100th time. Hey, confetti! I love it. Kaitlin, what's up? For the 100th time, we are having an episode of Home's Room.
100 episodes, 3 digits, and they said we couldn't make it this long. I don't know if anybody actually ever said that, but
I'm sure they did, but fuck them.
Look at us.
Yeah.
Triple digits.
Congratulations. Yep. I think that's awesome. I just did an interview, and she's September or August or something like that, I think, is when she said her 100th episode is coming out. So that'll be really freaking awesome. I love that for her, but also love that for us. And today we have a flashback, maybe. So yeah. How are you, Kaitlin?
I'm hanging in. As we record this, I'm 6 days clean off the fruity batteries. And I still want to gnaw on my steering wheel. I still, even today, was so tempted to go to the vape shop, but I didn't. So I'm proud of myself.
Yeah,
I'm proud of myself.
Good job. I hope that ends up being a thing that you can stick with. Yeah. So I love that is that just gonna be a thing the whole time? You're just gonna
throw confetti every time.
Recycle confetti.
Proud of myself. But
yeah. So we were talking about what do we do for a 100th episode, and I remember way back when we were talking about doing a 100th episode, and we were like, maybe we should do like a 100 or the 100 TV show review kind of deal. And then it was like, yeah, we could do that, but like I think that'd be really hard to do in an episode, but also I don't know if anybody would want to listen to that but us. So like
we would love to talk about it. If you want us to break down an episode of the 100, that's literally like Matt and Courtney's favorite TV show and one of my top favorite TV shows.
It's not her favorite TV show. It's just mine.
Oh, just kidding.
Yeah.
It's Matt's favorite TV show.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's like, what can we do? So then we were like, let's do like maybe a top 10 thing. And we're like, how about we do our top 5 episodes and our top 5 moments. And then it's like a top 10 because we put it together. And like, yeah. So it's pretty fun. And I got 2 bonus ones, or I guess I got 1 bonus one, and an honorable mention because Courtney couldn't come up with a favorite moment, just a favorite episode. So yeah. Kaitlin, what I guess does 100 episodes mean to you?
100 episodes mean we've been yapping a lot. But also 100 episodes is honestly not something that I even like thought of or considered when way back in the day, an episode of Home's Room with a Substitute, when I came back and interviewed you about being a writer, just coming fresh off of an interview where we met for the first time and you interviewed me about my book. I didn't honestly think or picture that we would be sitting here, almost 2 years later, year and a half later?
Over 2 years.
Over 2 years?
That was 2023. It is 2025.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Over 2 years later, celebrating our 100th episode. Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I think it's awesome. I think that, when it comes to like podcasts, there's the stat where it's like most podcasts don't make it past episode 10. And if you make it past episode like 21, you're in like the top 10 percentile. So like, I think 100 probably puts you within the top like 5 to like 1% of podcasts. So there's that. And if you've been with us this entire time, which hopefully somebody still listening out there has been with us from the very beginning, thank you. I think that's awesome. So, yeah, doing a thing like this takes dedication, takes discipline, and it takes not burning yourself out, not burning your I guess material out. And one thing that in the interview that you would have just heard not too long ago with the Hot Mess Espresso podcast, and I did say espresso to make sure that we were saying it right, the ability to pivot. And I think that we did that really well, being able to pivot on topics, being able to pivot on a direction. I still love interviewing creatives. I still love talking about creativity on here, but like the ultimate underlying like theme is always every day is a class, go learn something. So we welcome guests, topics, things that are something to learn about, something to maybe you didn't know, or you have an opinion and you hadn't heard a contrary opinion yet, or you didn't know about this thing, like the lifestyle stuff, the sex educators we've had on here, some of the like, some of the people from different walks of life, or people that have had like wild life experiences that you would have never heard of otherwise, like I think that's awesome. So I'm glad that we're doing it this way. I don't know. Like I said, it's just such a interesting thing to be at 100.
There's been such variety in the guests that you've interviewed and the guests that we've both been able to actually interview together. You genuinely, I think it was so smart that when you decided, I want to do this thing, but I don't want to paint myself into a corner, or, one thing about social media strategy that everybody tries to ram down your throat is to find your niche. You have to find your very, very small niche of content that you create, or what you want to platform, or the type of creative material that you want to put out into the world, so that the social media algorithms and whatever the fuck. I think that was one of the smartest things that you could have done for this podcast, was not do that. To be able to jump into, one week you're talking to Sex Reimagined, love you, shout out. And the other weekend the next week you're talking to a gut health expert, like that's, variety is the spice of life, as they say.
Yeah. I think that's it's of benefit and of, kind of like shoot yourself in the foot a little bit, because we are so like varietied. It sometimes is hard to like gain traction, because it's like this episode catches, that episode doesn't, because the people that are used to listening to it, or the people that come finding episodes are more into this or that. So like that does hurt sometimes. But I will say that I do love that we have always done a good job at trying to find captivating people, and not just filling episodes. Like maybe some of our episodes maybe fall under that sometimes, because we're just trying to find a topic that like is current, or like, oh, let's talk about this, because it might land, it might not. But at the end of the day, even with those episodes, like we enjoyed having that conversation, and those are the ones where and then we're like, God, that was more fun than I was expecting it to be. So like, good on us.
Lots of rabbit holes we've randomly found down.
Yeah,
or fallen down.
We have fallen down quite a few rabbit holes. We actually have an episode titled Rabbit Holes, because we just took an episode to just fall down rabbit holes. Go listen to that one. It's back there, somewhere in the 100 episodes list. But yeah, so what we're gonna do is the top fives. Do you want to start with top 5 moments or top 5 episodes first? Which one do you?
I say episodes into moments, general to granular.
All right. Did you order yours in like a ranking system, or did you just throw them out there?
I just threw mine out there. There was no particular order, and I didn't want anybody to feel excluded.
Yeah, so mine it's like the first ones that came to mind, but not came to mind in like an order. Came to mind when I was like, oh yeah, that one. And then I was like, what's the next one? And I thought hard, and I was like, oh yeah, that one. Because there's like, whatever. So like there kind of was an order, but not in like a ranking system. It was just like the ones that like I something from it like rang in my head. So what's your first one?
One of my, obviously, I kind of spoiled my list a little bit here. The first episode that came to mind about one that I just enjoyed so much and felt so privileged to be a part of this experience as your co-host was the very first time that I got to join you in an interview with Sex Reimagined.
Yeah.
I wish that you could have pulled clips or put together a collage of the facial expressions that I had throughout that entire episode, because they were blowing my mind and I learned so much. And I think that was also one of the first times in this podcast experience, like, that I've opened up to explore or talk about topics that I ordinarily would shy away from or wouldn't want to own or talk about at all. So you hyped that interview up an appropriate amount. You said, wait till you talk to these ladies. They are just fantastic. So that was the first episode that I came up with because I was like, holy cow, like, I can't believe I get to be here and listen to like do these types of interviews. I think that was one of the very first ones that we like did a co-interview with
I think so.
as well.
Yeah.
But you know, even with my kids screaming in the background once or twice, I just like, it was just like a wow, like this is such a cool thing and a cool thing to be a part of.
Yeah. That was good, and I enjoyed that one. Your faces were good, but also like it was like I'm in the room while this conversation is happening, and this is like everybody having the conversation is just so like, yeah, we're having this conversation, and like are we okay?
Mhm.
And like that was definitely good. I'm gonna match your energy. Before we got on, I was telling you a story, and you said I matched the energy, and I'm gonna
Yep.
match your energy. One of my favorite episodes was Keeping the Spark Alive. We just dropped that one. And
Mhm.
the reason that one is one of my favorites is for the contrast in what you just said, how fluid that conversation was, and how much better of a conversation it was than I was expecting it to be, because you never know when it comes to like topics like that whether somebody's going to be comfortable or not comfortable. And I think that with the lists that I gave, your reactions to those were both funny, but also like, you know, happenstance. Like, yep, that is a thing I also agree with. And, you know, we shared, you know, a little bit of personal, but like, you know, just matter of factly, like I said, happenstance, like this is kind of what it is. And I think that hopefully makes people feel decent about it and not feel, you know, like, oh, that was uncomfortable, but also, you know, maybe laugh a little bit at what we said. So yeah, that was my first
Absolutely.
one.
Your lists were hilarious in that episode as well. I'm like, oh my goodness gracious. The contrast between your two different lists that you found and selected were also very funny to me. So that's a good one. That's a good one.
Those lists, when I came across them, it was like I love the contrast in these, and I'm definitely going to read these, and I hope that Kaitlin enjoys it. So, speaking of Kaitlin enjoying things, what's your second episode there, friend?
Again, in no particular order. My second episode that came to mind was when we also co-interviewed your friend Morgan, the ghost hunter.
Yeah.
And part of our spooky series, obviously, because I love Halloween. It's one of my favorite holidays. She was just a delight to talk to in general and explained
Shout
ghosts.
out Cartwright.
Adore you. Come back. She was just a joy to talk to. And again, that was another opportunity of pushing myself to talk about topics that I normally would like not take seriously or whatever. I think my friendship with you has also introduced me to like trying to embrace vulnerability and softness in a way of like, I want to be open to having some of these experiences that like you and Morgan were speaking about. So to get her expertise and to hear her stories and to hear, even just to check out some of her content. As soon as we were done with that interview, I checked out some of the ghost hunting stuff that they had posted to YouTube. And again, anytime they want to come to St. Louis,
Apex Paranormal.
We got plenty of freaking ghosties. So, yeah, I just really adored talking to Morgan. I really liked that interview. And it was also, again, one of our very first ones that we co-interviewed together. Yeah. So shout out Morgan.
I love that. That was a fun one. And it was like, I had already interviewed her. I've been friends with her for a really long time, and like we would hang out at parties and have conversations about that stuff, and she'd be like, look where I just went. And so like I'm glad that somebody else that I know that doesn't know her as well as I know her got to like have a fun conversation with her and do a thing with her, and like it became like fun. With that same thing, I'm gonna match your energy again.
Okay.
Spooky season 3, the first series we did when we first did the spooky seasons, and the first time we did the haunted places. That one was just so good because it was like that one still to this day is one of the better performing spooky season episodes, just because I think it was like, oh, this is fun, or oh, this is, and you did your research, you had like good energy about it, even though it's not necessarily your thing. And I knew a little bit about some of them that like you were like, yep, that's and so it created a conversation about a list I knew nothing about because I didn't know what was on it until it was like done. And then it was like, okay, cool, like I like these places. So I didn't have research or notes prepared on any of it, so it was fun. It was like a you led episode, but not in the sense that like you had to do all the hosting for it. It was still a tandem event, and I love that. I think that was good.
Yeah, that one was super fun. And I like didn't expect that to be a topic of falling down a rabbit hole of research that I initially thought I would enjoy, but then surprise, I did. So yeah, I think we might have to revisit that one the next spooky season as well.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, and we'll have to figure out, like maybe we'll have to like pick a particular place, like between, like, because I think we did the world the last time, not just the United States or whatever it was, like whatever they were before, like we expanded, and maybe we'll have to narrow the scope so it's like, the like the most haunted places in like Missouri and Kansas, or the most haunted places in the Midwest or something. I don't know. All right, what's your next one?
All right, my next one. My next one, oh my gosh, this episode is so near and dear to my heart. And that is Home's Room with my mom. When we sat down and we interviewed your mother, who is a tropical angelic sunfish of a human being, who was entertaining and so insightful. And the advice that she gave to us on that episode, it was just so weird timing for that interview as well. I think it was all advice that I needed to hear in that moment. So it's kind of like, yet again, divine timing of an interview. But just getting to like meet your mom was so nice too. She was a joy. I just like in general meeting my friends' parents, because I think it just helps me understand my friends a lot better, like at a deeper level, a different level. So yeah, that was my number 3 on my list, was hanging out with Mama Holmes.
I like that one. That one almost made my list, but I was like, I don't want to do all interviews, because the first ones that I was coming up with were interviews. So it was like trying to figure out like, oh, what else? Like, which other ones do we like? What are some just me and Kaitlin episodes? So like, I liked that one, and I felt like that was a good episode for me, but like I think it was more of a you-centric episode, so like it's fitting that it's on your list. And like my mom still to this day likes you more than me, so there's that.
Stop it.
She says that, Kaitlin. Whatever
and
clip.
Also, again divine timing too, because that episode ended up dropping on her birthday.
It did end up dropping on her birthday. That wasn't by chance though. That was I worked that one into that situation. It was like perfect, and I was like, it's gonna drop the week of your birthday, and you can't do nothing about it. But she was talking to me today in our timeline is Memorial Day. Shout out to the fallen. And we were at her house, and she turned around and she was like, that clip that you posted today, was that from like an episode that's coming out, or is that from the episode that like is out now? And I was like, oh, you clearly didn't read the caption. And I gave her a little bit of hard time because it said like new episode, like and today's Monday and they drop on Monday, so that's what it is. So I gave her a little bit of a hard time, and she was like, well, I just what she said just made me like, I'm gonna have to check that one out, because I think that's, and it's like, well, good, do it. So you spoke to her ear holes, and I don't even remember what the clip was, to be honest, but like I know
it was that's a clip from That's What She Said, about one of our first episodes from the beginning of this season, where I had no idea why. I felt like somebody needed to hear it, but I just was like, if you're doing all of this work in therapy, like working on yourself, but you're only doing it to get the motivation or the approval of others, it's a waste of your fucking time, and it's performative. So cut that shit out.
It wasn't from the beginning. It wasn't from a different episode of the season. It was from the spark, because that's where it came from. So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, no, so like she wants to go listen to that one. So like I'm excited for her to listen to that one because she doesn't necessarily know what that episode's about if she's going off of just that clip. So love you, Mom. So I'm going to guess what? I'm gonna match your
my energy
again. This is so weird, right? Home's Room with Dads.
Yes, that one almost made my list.
Yeah, that it was just such a fun episode to do and to like talk about our dads, because so I've distinctly said my dad and my father are two different people. My dad is the guy that I remember that taught me a lot about who I needed to be and why I needed to be that for the world, not just me, not just my family, but for the world. My father is a different guy and did some things that weren't as cool, but talking about your dad and talking about my dad and like sharing those stories and like just strolling down memory lane with a friend was probably the most like cathartic thing I think I've done in a really long time, speaking about my dad. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you also. That was, I think that episode was obviously like much closer to my dad's death. And that was like a well-timed conversation in that it was just joyful to remember him in that moment. I really genuinely believe that was one of the first full-length conversations that I had about him where I wasn't like just completely gutted by sorrow in that moment. So just to be able to share with the world and share with our friends and share with you the type of man that my dad was and what he stood for, and probably do a terrible impression of him along the way was also very cathartic for me. So thank you for allowing that to come to fruition. That's insane.
You did a really good job in that one of painting a picture of who he was and like the things that he imparted on you, but also like your family as a whole, like not just you, but your siblings, your extended family, that kind of thing. And I think that for me, listening to you, and that's probably one of the things that like I took away the most, and like I carry with me more than anything else I've taken from any episode here, is the wherewithal to be like, hey Kaitlin, what was his name?
His name was Don.
Yeah. And talking about Don and being able to keep that memory alive and keep that name moving around, and knowing that like I don't have to like be like, ooh, don't talk about my dad because your dad's not here, like, and feeling like a terrible person, because that conversation flowed because I would tell a story and then you would tell a story in kind, or you'd be like, oh my gosh, like that just makes me, and I think we both lit up in a way that I wasn't expecting. So yeah, Home's Room with Dads. Go check that one out if you have not, because it's us talking about our interesting relationship with our fathers, but also with interesting walks of life that we've had with them. So yeah, and without them, I guess too. I don't know, but
also very timely to review that or to revisit that episode if you have already listened to it, because Father's Day is coming up again.
It is, and that's why we did it, because it was Father's Day. So what's your next one? Because we got two more, right? If I math correctly. All right. So what's your second to last one?
Second to last one is actually, in fact, the my last two are Kaitlin Matt episodes. I'm done with my interviews.
All right.
So fourth on my list is Home's Room with Intrusive Thoughts.
That one almost made my list.
That was a really good conversation that two pals had about mental health. And it was also I think a conversation where we had maybe some different perspectives on the topic, or like some different viewpoints, but we're very graceful and tactful about how we approach those differences. But yeah, I just think that those types of conversations are really important. I think Kaitlin, even 5-10 years ago, sitting down and having a conversation like that on a hot mic with clips of it posted to the internet
Yeah.
where would have clutched her pearls and been like, oh my gosh. Because there was a time way back in the day where I thought that, you know, any type of, like, I didn't take mental health very seriously. I thought it was just perceived as just a great source of weakness. That's one of my deepest fears, is to be perceived as weak. So like the conversation that we had just organically, because another conversation that just like flowed really well. We held space for different perspectives that we both brought to the table, but I also think that it was such a huge marker of my own personal growth that was a conversation that I like embraced and wanted to have. I don't even remember whose idea of a topic that was,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm just very proud of us and proud of myself that these are types of conversations that I'm not just having here on Homes Room, though. I'm having with my friends in real life. I'm having at work with my coworkers. Like these are concepts and principles that I'm teaching to my kids for even as young as they are. So yeah, that was my number 4, Homes Room with Intrusive Thoughts.
Like I said, that one almost made my list, and the only reason it didn't make my list was because it was like, when I think back about that episode, I would have to listen to it right now to remember that, like, how impactful it was. And I was like, I don't want to say that one and like misquote it or misremember or something. So I'm gonna bump that one, but I'm glad it made your list because it really was one of those conversations that like honestly, I don't know if we had done a buddy check-in prior to that, but like kind of the like birth of like the buddy check-ins, and where it was like,
yeah,
we need to do these and have these conversations, and people responded to those and was like, oh my gosh, I love that you know had that conversation, and we're so like raw and vulnerable with each other, because that's not something that like is easy to do. And it also made me feel like I was just in a room with people having a conversation, and like it made me feel better, and it was like, damn, I've like other people feel this way too. It's not like I'm okay. It's damn okay. So I love that. I think that's pretty fucking awesome. So
I love that. What's number 4 on your list, homie?
all right. So I'm surprised, because you said you're done with interviews, that this one didn't make yours. And this is one of those joint interviews that we did. But 1 year later with Simo was fucking fire. And it was just such a good conversation. It was like 1 year later in like, you know, Simo's journey, and 1 year later in our journey, because that was the first interview that I did way back when, and Simo was concussed, and there was just so much that happened, and it was the first time I had done an interview at all. So like, or at least I should say an interview audio format, because I've done them, you know, in print where I just send a bunch of questions and then they answer them, and like it's not a big deal, and like I've done things like that like a ton. So first like actual audio interview where I'm asking my questions and they gotta sound good, and if they don't sound good then it's terrible. So, you know, to flash forward to 1 year later and have it be what it was, and you were on it, and just like how, I don't want to say powerful, but like it's kind of a powerful episode. And then I gave Simo the footage, and then it got turned into this like badass like clip where like part of Pink Elephant was like cut underneath. Like it just what it became was so fucking awesome. And you know, again, a person I've known since they were a teenager, and you know, like I don't want to say innocent, but like shy and quiet, to this like, I'm here, I'm taking up space, and I don't give a fuck kind of attitude at the point they are. It's like, I fucking love it. And I was super happy. And anytime I get to support any of my homies, anytime I get to support a fellow creative, and anytime I get to support somebody that like is just about their fucking grind, I like, it's my like happiest day. I love it. And I got to share that with you. So it was like even better, because again, it's a person that I know, that I've known forever, and I know their story, and now you're getting to like hear it. And like it's like watching somebody experience like your favorite TV show or your favorite food or something, and they also are vibing with it, you know. So
Oh my gosh. Shout out to Simo. We're mutuals on TikTok. We are all over each other's stuff all the time. And I think I actually forgot to tell you this, so I will tell you this now. I've had a TikTok come across my algorithm that said, what's the most messed up thing that your parents ever did? And I just commented one word, and it was died. Now, in other, like when TikToks come across my algorithm, if you swipe open the comments, people that I'm friends with on TikTok where we follow each other, their comments populate to the top. So Simo got that TikTok, and she opened the comments and she saw my comment. And like 2 days after, I totally commented on it and like forgot about it, obviously. She commented responding to my comment and was like, Kaitlin, OMG. And I just died laughing. But since we've sat down and talked to her, it's been also another like super fun thing to sit down and watch her change and grow as a creative. I know she's been doing some acting, and she's been posting about like behind the scenes stuff about like the makeup and being in front of the camera and stuff like that. But also just her attitude and her perspectives. It is always a thrill when I see her face come across my phone screen. So shout out to Simo. Cannot see what is next for her in terms of a creative. And that's honestly, I don't want you to be mad, Simo, that you didn't make my list. But I will say one thing that these 100 episodes have helped me appreciate that I never did, or I didn't do a good enough job doing in the past, is supporting and like understanding creatives. Yeah. Like the grind of creatives, the journey of being a creative, the like need that you feel deeply in your body to like put content or put whatever to express that creativity and to turn it into something that evokes emotion out of other people. Has definitely helped me embrace and understand and try to see and appreciate in other people. So shout out, Simo. We love you.
Yeah, we do. We really do. What's your last one?
My last one, I hinted at it earlier. My last of my top 5 episodes in no particular order was the Homes Room with a Substitute episode, where I got to come back and interview you. Because, I think we both kind of vibed immediately after an interview. You asked me to come back and interview you, which I was happy to do. But that second episode that we recorded together, I think, was where we really like kind of processed like, oh, this could be something. Like this is a thing. Yeah. And you kind of like tiptoed around it until I think we were done recording that episode. We had conversations here or there about it, or we were just like tiptoeing around it. But then you finally asked me to be your official co-host moving forward. And then I blinked, and here we are celebrating 100 episodes. 100 episodes, yeah. That was the second episode we ever recorded together. So
it was. I like that one, and that one like came across when I was like looking to try and see like episodes that I couldn't remember the titles of, or like what was that one called, and then I came across that one and I was like, oh, that one could make the list because that was a good one, and that one was like kind of the like the canon for what Homes Room has become. And I think that I'm glad it made your list because like that is where it started. And I had another co-host, and then that didn't work out, and then I had an interview with you and we vibed, and then we did a second interview, and it was like, okay, like can we capture lightning in a bottle twice? And that's the exact quote that I used to Courtney when I said, I'm having that girl Kaitlin back on. You really liked her energy. You thought we were really fun together. I'm having her back on. I hope that it's the same, but we'll see. And then it was like, okay, cool. Like this works. And then we did 2 writers, and that one is the one that like solidified it to me, where it was like, yeah, this is like, you are this person, you have this energy, it matches, we can vibe back and forth. And even if we don't necessarily agree or we have different outlooks, like it's not like well, I'm right, so I'm going to shut you down, or
Mhm.
well, you know, like you disagree with me, so I'm just going to get quiet and not say anything. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like it was you're you, I'm me, and that's what works. And I think that, you know, for me, again, it was really, really strongly, as strong as possible. I wanted a female co-host. I wanted the female perspective. I wanted somebody that wasn't going to be, you know, ashamed or abashed in any way about
Mhm.
being a female voice. And I found you, and I don't think that there's like a better, you know, like co-host to have for those reasons. You know what I mean? Like you do all of those things, and I think that if either one of us had known when we did, you know, the girl with two dead parents, if
Mhm.
either of us had known that like we were at that point then going to have 100 episodes after, or 99 more episodes or whatever after that one, like that's crazy. So congratulations.
If I'm anything, Matt, I'm violently myself. After
I
100
love it. Same.
episodes, I hope that's not news.
Right? If you're listening, I hope it's not news.
All right, what's your last episode, homie?
All right, and this one is like my favorite, and I didn't rank any of them. I'm gonna rank this one as my favorite, not because of the guest or anything, but because of the effort that went into it. And like, this is quite possibly one of the best episodes that I did from a technical standpoint. Like I said, setting it up, the way that it came together, and the reaction of the guest, and like just the conversation. Like I could listen to this one like 50 different times and probably still be like, fuck, that's such a good episode. Spencer McKenzie Brown, to the music clipped in, his reaction to his own fucking music, and like breaking it down, and like us just vibing to his music like we were just sitting in a room, you know, like it was through a computer screen from Lawrence, Kansas to Bend, Oregon, but you would not have known that listening to that episode. You would think that we were sitting in the same fucking room, and we haven't seen each other in maybe almost 10 years, honestly. Like it's been so long since like I've actually seen him.
Mm-hmm.
You would not know that in that episode. You would not assume that like there was a period of time where like him and I didn't even speak, because like it just was that way, you know what I mean? So like that episode to be what it was, and it happened to fall in right as we were doing 1 year later, and it was a 1 year later for him as well, and he was the second guest, which was supposed to be the first guest, but like due to scheduling errors, like Simo slipped in right under the wire, so I did 2 episodes in like 1 day, and it worked out that way. And to have them both back on at the same time basically, and just watch them grow and see how, you know, how much they've both grown. I can't have one on here without the other, if that makes sense. So like like I said, that episode, just technically, the music clipped in, the way that worked out, just like cherry on top, perfect. And then the dude's just a fucking like savant on the goddamn mic. Like I don't know what you want. Like you listen to that guy talk and you're just like, yep, whatever you say. Walk off this cliff. Gotcha, boss. Like, you know, so.
Shout out again to Kenzie. Of course, he is
Spencer McKenzie Brown. He changed his name officially.
Okay.
We still say Kinsey in our in our thing, because I'm sorry, but I'm not rewriting the fucking outro because it's so goddamn annoying to get the right take. It sounds good as it is. Sorry, brother. It's just not gonna happen.
Shout out to Spencer McKenzie Brown. What a name, man.
Who might have new music coming. I saw a teaser post that said something about it, but I haven't seen anything since, and I was reluctant to ask because he's on an adventure, so I'm trying to let him vibe with his adventure without badgering him with questions. But like maybe we like tag this clip and be like, hey, are you dropping new music? Is this a thing? Are you doing this?
The people want to know. Spencer McKenzie Brown.
Yeah, that's my favorite one. That's my favorite one.
And switching gears a little bit here too, though, you're talking about technical stuff. For those of you that are not aware, don't know it, all of our editing, all of our clip posting, all the social media, Matt does. All the behind the scenes heavy lifting is 100% Matt.
Yeah, that it
Thank
is.
you so much for doing that.
Yeah. I wish it did more for us than it does, but
Mm-hmm.
like that's, you know, like big eyes and a small stomach, you know, it's an elephant. I'm trying to do the one bite at a time, and I got to remember that. But you know, I enjoy finding the clips. I enjoy posting the clips and all that kind of stuff. I think the hardest thing is like sitting here and trying to be like, does that one sound good? That one doesn't sound good. This one needs
Mm-hmm.
more context, so it's not long enough. And do I want to just make this one longer to make it more? And like that's an annoying part. And I do wish that I could just like offload that to somebody else, and I just got to be like, approve. Yes, I like that one. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's that like I think shows how much I care about it and how much effort and energy I'm trying to put in it. So yeah. So we're gonna talk about moments now. So Kaitlin, what's one of your favorite moments here on Homes Room from
These are
100
actually
episodes?
kind of ranked.
Okay,
These are actually kind of ranked. So the first
mine
one on
are
my
too, kind of.
list,
So I'll go in ascending order, descending order, whichever one means the most important one was last.
same.
Yeah. Okay.
The first moment on my list was the first time that I got to firsthand experience the Matt Holmes friend Spidey sense,
Yeah. Yeah.
where I don't even legitimately the first time that I experienced it, I don't think it was on a recorded episode. It was a text that you had sent me
Yeah.
that I was like, oh. But there have been many at this point, more than one random Matt friendship Spidey senses where he's like, he gets like this tingle where he's like, oh,
Yeah.
I need to check in on this friend. And every single time he's done it with me, it's been a needed check in. And I'm not the only friend of yours that
Nope.
attests to this or says this.
Yeah.
So to see and experience that for the first time, the Matt Holmes friendship Spidey tingle was one of my favorite moments of
Yeah.
being down this path and being your co-host.
I like that one. That does happen, and I also feel bad sometimes because people. I think it creeps people out too, and it's like, I'm sorry, man. Like I don't want. It's either that or I don't reach out to you, and I'm never gonna not reach out to you. So that's not gonna be the thing. So one of my favorite moments, and like I said, this is the the not my favorite moment, but one of my favorite moments was giving each other gifts on the on air. That was so fun. And then like you realizing that the cup was left-handed, because I remember that you were left-handed, and like that, just how fun that was. And then you read it, and then you were like, oh my gosh, like this is and I loved that. That was fun, like giving gifts and like seeing genuine reaction because of how thoughtful something was, but also how like, oh my god, like this is just, I loved that, and I thought that was awesome. So
I still have your little I won't start working until my coffee does.
good.
Little sign that you gifted to me back here on my bookcase somewhere. It's
love
covered by my large balloons right now, but
Yeah, fair.
I freaking love that moment. We need to do that one again. We tried to do it last season, I think, and we just couldn't like make it work, or maybe we were on a break during.
Yeah, we didn't do Christmas episode. We didn't do a Christmas episode last year.
We were
stopped. We stopped.
We were on a break during that one, but we got to do that
stopped at
again.
Thanksgiving. Yeah, for
We
sure.
gotta do
We'll
that
have to do a
again.
bonus episode where we give each other gifts.
That's fun as hell.
What's your next moment there, buddy?
All right, my next moment is it's a particular moment in the episode of Homes Room with a movie day, when it was one of the first episodes that we recorded together after you asked me to be your co-host, and we went through a list of our own favorite movies. But I particularly remember like processing and understanding like, oh, Matt's a huge movie buff,
Yeah.
buff. Like he loves it. And I'm pretty sure that episode was the first time that you told me how you and Court met with you both working at a movie theater. So like in that moment, I'm starting to like get a better understanding about the person that you are, and hear about your wife for like, I think that was like one of the first times that we talked about her. So yeah, that specific moment, I was like, oh, like I've never had a friend that is a huge movie fan like Matt.
That pulls fucking knowledge out randomly.
That's huge.
It's annoying sometimes. And what's wild is like I have friends that trump me with movie knowledge. So like that's where it's like, fuck, what? Okay. But yeah. I love that. I think that's sweet. That's a good moment. Yours have been sweet so far, and it makes me sad because mine have not been. Mine are not so sweet.
That's fine.
My next one is like Home's Room with an Adventurer and Summer, when so much motivation came out of that fucking episode that I wasn't expecting. And like, again, that's one of Courtney's friends that she grew up with. So like, I'm friends with her, but I haven't had conversations with her on that level. Like the most conversation that I've had, we were fucking drunk. And like, so like, I don't remember most of the conversation. I remember they were fun. And I remember she was wearing a fucking Blue's Clues costume, but that's like all I remember. So like legit, it just is. And like to have those conversations with people in this sense on this platform, it's like social lubricant in a completely different way where alcohol does not need to be involved for them to be like, I'm gonna get deep here for a second and just like let it flow. And you know, she was talking about like, that's where I think the phrase like just pressing buy on the microphone got like coined, where like it was like that, it's about taking that first step. And then she was talking about how it was like, just take that next step and that next step and that next step, and you just keep going until you know you start to get there. And you just gotta and it was just so, it was like fucking like motivational pep talk after motivational pep talk. And she was just like vibing, she was just talking, you know, she was like, pretty sure she was still at fucking work, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like she was like in this zen space. She just was like, yep, this is knowledge that needs to be shared, and I'm compelled to share it, and I am going to share it. And I fucking love that.
Oh, man, those are some of my absolute favorite episodes, when you like walk away with like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm going into the rest of my week with this type of energy. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one on my list is not necessarily a particular moment. It's one of my favorite things that we do on episodes. And again, I kind of spoiled my own list because we talked about it a little bit earlier already. Homes Room with Rabbit Holes.
Yeah.
Like there is planning that goes into these episodes. Like we discuss the
It doesn't
topic.
seem like it, but there is.
We like really like we try to prepare. Like we come up with lists, or Matt comes up with, you know, like talking points or questions to kind of guide the conversation. And it's some of my favorite conversations that we have, when all of a sudden we realize we're 10 minutes skewed completely from what our schedule or what our plan for this conversation was going to be and was going to go. And we fell down a rabbit hole. So thank you for encouraging those rabbit holes. Thank you for not always cutting them off at the knees, though sometimes they probably do need to be cut off a little bit.
I've gotten really good about being able to reel you back in when I need to. So I love that.
We record these episodes really around the time of day where my Adderall, my prescribed amphetamines, are starting to wear off. So sometimes it's really difficult for me to like focus in, or just like, you know, this is our plan. But sometimes the rabbit holes that we fall down are hilarious. Sometimes they're deep. Sometimes they're like super emotional. So I just like, hang on. We don't even know where this conversation's going.
Yeah.
Rabbit holes.
I love it. So I kind of bait and switch. I said my list wasn't very personal, and I was sad. I lied. It's about to get personal. So one of my favorite fucking things to watch, and it's happened any time that you've done an interview with me, and I fucking like, it's wild to me because like I feel like I could just like get up and walk away, and like it's just such a wild thing to see. But watching practically every woman we've talked to fall in love with you in real time, it's so fucking funny. And like how many people tell me, man, I just fucking love Kate. Like, and it's like when you have a friend who, I don't want to say thinks little of themselves, but like just doesn't realize the light that they are. But like everybody around them is like, yo, this is a thing. Like you have video and conversational and like feedback evidence of how much people just fucking enjoy you and like are just like adoring you. And like I've watched it. Like I remember the first Sex Reimagined interview we did, and I don't remember, you said modest is hottest, and they both just like, oh honey. And from that moment forward, you could have said fucking anything and they would have been like, I love you and I just want to like, I come here, hug me, and we're gonna cry this out, and then we're gonna laugh this out, and then you're gonna be a better person, and then we're gonna be better people, and then we're gonna hug again. And like watching that happen with every guest we've had is just fucking amazing. Like I said, my mom loves you more than me right now. So like, yeah.
I think you genuinely just made me tear up a little bit. Thank you for that. I think I also needed to hear that a little bit today as well. I say it's not a
fucking pretzely truck. Don't even go there. Like
Alyssa,
legit. Yeah,
I
don't
love
even
you,
go
Alyssa.
there. Like whatever you're getting ready to say, make sure it's on the tone of it's fucking real. It's true.
I said it's not after we got done hitting record on our interview with Pretzely Truck, I told you it's not a coincidence after coincidence that you just keep attracting like awesome women around you. I think that that's just a testament to you and your personality and your ability to support and platform the female perspective, but also just like the type of friend that you are. I would not ever really use violently yourself or completely extroverted to describe you like I would myself, but almost every single female friend of yours that I have met and interviewed, I would say we're pretty extroverted. Like we vibed immediately. Like we believe that women should take up space. Women should, make themselves known. Our perspectives are valid. All these other things that, yes, it's been a joy to meet your friends, but also, that's, I think, a testament to the type of person that you are, that you, it's not a coincidence that this specific type is drawn to you and your supportive friendship. So I think, thank you for doing that. Thank you for being the person that you are. But I love your friends, man. They're so freaking fun. And they teach me so much. So
yeah. What's your word? We got two more, right? So your second to last one. What's your second to last one?
The second to last one is specific. I really tried hard to remember what freaking episode it was, but there was a time during an episode where you like educated me about roller derby. Mm-hmm. You broke down the rules. You broke down like the terminology. Like that was a moment that I was like, it's so freaking cool to learn about a new sport, but also one that you and Courtney are very clearly so freaking passionate about. To I see the clips and I've seen the clips that both of you guys have shared online of like roller derby in general, and like to be able to see those and understand them, but also understand that like I'm watching clips and seeing pictures of you guys playing. Yeah. That's a top moment for me. Only because I had no idea about roller derby. I knew it existed, but that was about the extent of my knowledge of it. Yeah. And I'm still by no means an expert. But that was like a really fun moment for me in one of our episodes, just to be able to sit down and learn and just to sit back and actually watch you. Like you could see how much you enjoy it and you love the coaching and the playing of it when you were sitting down teaching a newbie the rules.
Yeah. So she vamped a little bit at the end because I'm making faces and she's probably trying to figure out what the fuck I'm doing. And like, are you mad? Are you not mad? I'm going to make you feel a teeny bit better about not knowing what episode that is. And for the people listening, you're not crazy. That episode never aired.
It wasn't on an episode?
No, it was on an episode. We recorded that episode. I think there are 4 episodes that we recorded that I was like, nah, we're not airing those.
Okay.
So I don't even remember what all of them are. I just know that one was one of them. So okay. Like, that one, after we got done recording, it was like one of those moments of like, I needed to like vent that shit out. I told you, I taught you about roller derby and everything. Mm-hmm. It was like at the same time that I was retiring and I was kind of like angry and like just hated everything. So it was like very venomous. And I was like, I'm not going to feel this way in like 6 months to a year. I'm not going to have like, I needed to say that, but it doesn't need to be out there forever for any reason. So like that was definitely a conversation that ended up just being like me talking to my homie that I needed to talk to, and I had to explain what the sport was and give you context before I could have the other conversation. So yeah, legitimately, it's one that just never aired. So
well, sorry to pick a moment that was just between two pals, but I still
it's good.
Still on my list. Genuinely, I just love following, especially at this point in my life and this point in adulthood. Like we're well into like our pattern of behaviors, and we've done some work to find the things that we're passionate about. And I'm always so fascinated to hear from other people what gets them excited. And it was truly just a joy to watch and listen to you explain a new thing to me that I didn't know anything about.
So I'm gonna match that energy real quick and say one of my favorite moments is seeing you grow and become more open, even if it's like 1% every day or every episode or every interview or whatever it is. That 1% makes a difference, and like seeing that over the span of 100 episodes with you is like fucking amazing. And for me, who's a super open person, when it comes to like most things, it's like I have to remind myself, oh yeah, that's not like normal. That I'm fucking weird. You're not weird. I'm weird. So like I love that. So good job on you, Kaitlin.
We're both weird, and I think that's another testament to you. Like sometimes, especially now, later episodes where we're talking about sex and we're talking about like keeping the spark alive in your marriage, and I'm literally doing a plug about the Quinn app for free.
Yeah.
I'm like following
your lead on it. They liked our post about that, by the way.
Of course they did. They their social media team is just so great. Oh my gosh. But they like it's me following your lead where it's more like, fuck it. If Matt's gonna go there, I'm gonna go there too. So yeah, I've also seen that in myself as well. So
good. Yeah, what's your last one?
My absolute favorite moment. It feels like you took a little bit of the wind out of my sails on this one, but my favorite moment was exchanging Christmas gifts.
Oh yeah, good. I'm glad.
That was number 5 on my list. Because like, believe it or not, friends, we've recorded 100 episodes together and we have never met each other in real life. No. We will at some point, I'm sure, eventually. But that was like, you're not just a face on my screen. Like you're not just somebody that texts me about like episode ideas. Like you mailed me a package and it was a really thoughtful gift too. So, I just really like that moment. So
good.
That was my favorite.
I love that. I love that so much. So my favorite moment, the buddy watch with Vacancy, when I asked you what your first nope moment was, mostly that entire episode, because it was just so fucking fun for me to listen to you talk about this movie that like gave you the like ick, but like you just had to gut through it. I fucking loved it. But that very first moment where I was like, the reel that I posted with like the thought bubbles, because it was just so fucking spot on. Like if you haven't seen it, scroll back through, find it. I'll share it to the stories when this episode comes out, whatever I got to do, because it was just so fucking funny. But it was like, what was your first nope moment? And it was literally like when they pull up to the hotel and they hear screaming. So it's like literally the very first almost scary thing. Not even the very first scary thing. The very first like almost scary thing. It was just scary noises. They had not yet done anything. They just heard scary noises. That was your first nope moment. And I was like, God damn it. That you didn't even get like you got past like the opening credits and said nope. And I love that. So fucking good.
And I still soldiered through for that buddy watch. Let me tell you something.
You did. But yeah, so, and everybody that hopefully doesn't feel like they're soldiering through listening to our episodes, 100 episodes deep. Thank you for listening. Thank you for like being here and celebrating 100 with us if you've gotten this far in this episode. And I gave Courtney a selection because I was like, she's kind of been like, and also behind the scenes contributor since the beginning. I wouldn't be able to do this without her, so I felt like I owed it to her to give her a pick. And she said one of her favorite episodes was the recovering sex addict or the recovering porn addict, Jessica Jordan. And I think that was a really good conversation, and again, one that I wasn't expecting. And like she was like, I didn't realize it until the end of the episode. I stopped recording, and then she like kind of slouched a little bit, and she was like, "Oh." And I was like, wait, have you been standing that whole time? She's like, yeah. She did an hour interview standing. And I was like, man, like what? And she just like cool as a cucumber. So, yep. No, go listen to that one. That was a good one. Poisoned by her neurotoxin, and it changed the chemistry of her brain, made her a sex/porn addict, and she recovered. She slept in the parking lot of hospitals because she was afraid that she might die and they would have to resuscitate her because it was that serious. So much happened. And then she started helping people who are porn and sex addicts, because what else do you do once you've been faced with something that serious but try and help people, not just be like, fuck it. So yeah, I hope everybody out there has listened to at least 2 or 3 of these episodes. If you've listened to all 100, shout it out. Let us know. I've listened to all of them. I have been a fan since the beginning. I also found another stack of Homes Room stickers. So if you've listened to them and you are one of the few, you got to let us know so I can send you a sticker. Because like I didn't know I still had some. I was cleaning up and I was like, oh, there's a sticker. Oh, there's another sticker. And then out popped a baggie of Homes Room stickers. I thought I was all out. So yeah. We need to do
one more time.
Oh,
one more time.
Hold on, wait, let me get my finger. Oh, good job. Happy
100 episodes.
Bye.
The bell is about to ring.
For the 100th
time. If you want to
time.
drop us a voice message or simply ask a question, you can do that by clicking the link in the show notes below. Be sure to leave us a 5-star review. It helps more people find us. Theme music by Kinsey. More
Spencer
music
McKenzie
available on Spotify. Remember, every day is a class. Go learn something.
100!